So the agenda of this training, this is classic architecture. Now, the term which I'm using, classic architecture, if some of you are not aware, that will be answered to you in some time. So what is classic architecture? So this training agenda includes introduction architecture of GoldenGate, then Oracle GoldenGate 21C new features. Now 21C is the latest version of Oracle GoldenGate which is available in the market. So there are some of the new features which have been introduced with 21C. So we are going to discuss and implement them as well. Then we'll be discussing about how to upgrade Oracle GoldenGate. Now upgrading Oracle GoldenGate is one of the major challenge everyone faces. Like still there are lot other means there are some issues I see with lot of GoldenGate administrators to upgrade Oracle GoldenGate. How do we do GoldenGate upgradation? We are going to discuss this in this session. So just to let you know, this is first time I'll be introducing this upgradation part as well. We'll be discussing about installation of 21C, how the installation differs between 21C and 19C. We'll see all that as well. Then we'll discuss about different concepts and components of GoldenGate, DML replication, how data replication happens when you do insert, update, and delete, which requires exclusive commit, how to perform initial load using GoldenGate, what is data filtration and transformation using GoldenGate, and how GoldenGate works with Informatica and ODI. Will be discussing that as well. Bidirectional configuration, like in GoldenGate, the good part is both the sides can be live. So whatever transaction happens on one side, it could be replicated to other side and vice versa. Then bidirectional auto CDR, the new feature which was introduced in 12.3 version. So we'll be discussing DDL replication, GoldenGate performance, troubleshooting, performance tuning. We'll be discussing a lot in that. So checkpoint security is another major aspect which we'll be discussing. Then parameters and parameter file in Oracle GoldenGate. Lockdump utility, how to read the trail files of Oracle GoldenGate. Parallel replicate. Now parallel replicate sub feature was introduced in 12.3. Now from 21C, this parallel replicate has been introduced for heterogeneous database like DB2 SQL Server as well. So that is another important milestone. Then what is heartbeat table for monitoring the lag. Performance matrix server. GoldenGate self-describing trail files feature will be discussing as well. So this is complete agenda. Along with that, we are going to discuss a lot of things like GoldenGate as a hub, designing, how to design. So this is just the crux of the training. You are going to learn a lot more than that. You will have a lot more learning than the topics I have mentioned here. Like GoldenGate as a hub. What is first question comes? What is GoldenGate hub? Second question comes, how do we implement GoldenGate hub? So we'll be discussing all that as well. Zero downtime, upgradation and migration strategy for database. We'll be discussing that as well. So today is day one. So day one agenda includes introduction to Oracle GoldenGate, overview of Oracle GoldenGate, different types of architectures available in GoldenGate, what is Oracle GoldenGate Veridata, different types of extracts and replicates, and if time permits, we'll also introduce ourselves to 21C. Otherwise, we'll pose this topic to the next session, and then we'll discuss about setting up virtual boxes and training guidelines. We'll discuss about that as well. So before we start, let us quickly have quick introduction to Oracle database architecture. Now see, GoldenGate is a product which works with database. GoldenGate is a product which works on database, whether it is Oracle database or any other database. It could be Oracle. So ultimate source for, so what is Oracle GoldenGate first of all? So GoldenGate is a CDC tool. CDC stands for change data capture. That means that whatever changes happens on source database, those changes are captured and applied on the target database. I again repeat, whatever changes happens on source database, those changes are captured and then applied on the target database. That tool is called as change data capture tool. Now, GoldenGate, first, if we go with the history of GoldenGate. So GoldenGate was founded in 1995. It was named after famous San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, which is Golden Gate. Since then, it is known as Oracle. Since initially it was Golden Gate. Now, until 1995 to 2009, GoldenGate was standalone company. In 2009, Oracle overtook it, and since then it is known as Oracle GoldenGate. Now, from 2009 until 2023, GoldenGate has seen a lot of changes. Like different version have been introduced, different types of processes have been introduced, which we'll be discussing going forward. So GoldenGate is a change data capture tool. Now the question comes whether GoldenGate supports only Oracle databases or non-Oracle database. So GoldenGate supports homogeneous as well as heterogeneous databases as well. Homogeneous means it supports Oracle database as well as it supports non-Oracle databases which includes MySQL, DB2, SQL Server, Postgres, to name a few. Along with that, there are a lot of other databases which it supports. Okay. Now the question comes, what does this change data capture tool means, or from where GoldenGate captures the data from? Now each database has its own transaction logs where the changes are stored. In case of Oracle, those changes are stored in redo log file or archive log file. So let us quickly discuss about Oracle database architecture. Many of or most of us here are Oracle DBA. So you must be aware about this architecture. But anyways, let me quickly discuss, and I'll just discuss it with respect to Oracle GoldenGate because discussing Oracle database architecture can take up to 6 or 7 or 8 hours as well. So I'll discuss it what is needed for Oracle GoldenGate. So Oracle database architecture is divided into two parts: instance, and second is Oracle database. Now instance contains memory components as well as background processes. So these are memory components. Memory components include your library cache, dictionary cache, basically SGA. SGA stands for System Global Area. So these forms your memory components like library cache, data dictionary cache, database buffer cache, Java pool, redo log buffer, and large pool. Now there are various background processes which includes pmon, smon, database writer, log writer, checkpoint, and then there are other background processes as well. Now Oracle database contains the files. Now there are three files which are stored: data file, control file, and redo log files. Data files are the actual files where the data is stored in the database. So say for example, you do select star from EMP. You are in your SQL developer and you do select star from employee table. So when you do that, you get the output on your screen. So from where do you get the output on your screen? So you get the output on your screen from these data files. So data files are the files where the actual data is stored. Next, you have control files. So control files stores the metadata information. So metadata means data about data. So these control files are the most critical files which stores the metadata information. Then you have redo log files. So redo log files are the files which contains the changes being made to the database. So say for example, you insert, update or delete anything. It goes into the redo log. And once, so these redo logs are limited in size. Say for example, you define 25 MB redo log file and there are 6 redo log files which you define at the database level. So in that case, what happens is total 150 of redo will be there. Now, as soon as your 150 MB of redo is full, the first redo log file will be flushed out, and if your database is in archive log mode, the archive will be generated for it. So the data from redo log file gets flushed to your archive log files. So these archive log files are nothing but backup of your redo log file. So whatever the data is in redo log file, Once the data gets flushed from redo log file, the archive is generated. So this archive log file consumes space on your operating system. It consumes some space from your means they reside on your disk. They consume space on your operating system. Okay. So now how the flow happens is, suppose you update any row. You execute the command update emp set salary equal to x 1000. So it becomes a dirty buffer. So what happens is, when you execute this, that particular record or buffer gets written into database buffer cache. Now from database buffer cache, the change gets returned to redo log buffer. You It gets returned to redo log buffer, and at the same time, from database buffer to data file, database writer process helps in writing the data. So whatever changes happens to the database, though the copy of those changes gets returned to redo log buffer, and then from redo log buffer, the data gets returned into the redo log files. So for GoldenGate purpose, GoldenGate is change data capture tool. So Oracle GoldenGate is a tool which captures the changes being made to the source database. So what is the source for Oracle GoldenGate processes? The source for Oracle GoldenGate is redo log file or backup of redo log file, which is archive log file. So GoldenGate reads the data from redo log files or archive log files. So from database buffer cache, the changes gets returned to the dirty buffer. Basically, you did say, for example, select star from emp where employee number equal to 1000. So data from data file will be returned into database buffer cache. Now suppose you update that particular record. So what happens is that buffer becomes dirty. Once you make the change, it is called as dirty buffer. So that dirty buffer gets returned into redo log buffer. Along with that, database writer process helps in writing the data to data file from database buffer cache. Now you have got the changes also written into redo log buffer. So redo log buffer writes the data to redo log file with help of background process log writer. So log writer process writes the data from redo log buffer to redo log files. Now log writer writes the data to redo log files under these conditions whenever there is commit. So as soon as commit is fired or executed on source database, it gets returned to redo log file with help of log writer process. So at commit, data gets returned to from redo log buffer to redo log file. When it's 1/3 full, when redo log buffer is 1/3 full, log writer process writes the data from redo log buffer to redo log files, or when there is 1 MB of redo, or every 3 seconds. Last point is very important. Before database writer process writes, so database writer writes the data from database buffer cache to data file. But before the data could be written into data files, redo log buffer writes the data to redo. The log writer process writes the data from redo log buffer to redo log files. Now the question comes, why do you need redo log files at the database level? Is it specifically managed or developed for Oracle GoldenGate or any change data capture tool? The answer is no. Redo log files are basically used for redo purpose. So say for example, so consider a scenario. You went to the bank, okay, you went to Bank of America. You deposited $10,000 in your account. So the previous balance of your account was $8,000. Now you deposited $10,000 into your account. You deposited $10,000 in your account. Now at the front end, the cashier who's sitting on the counter, she is able to deposit the amount. But before those changes could reflect, so the actual or the updated balance in your account should be 18,000, right? But before that those changes could be applied at database level. The database got crashed. Database got crashed. Now still the updated value in your or updated account balance in your account is 8,000. However, you have already deposited $10,000 in your account. What about those 10,000? So redo log files or backup of redo log files, which are archive log files, comes into picture for redo purpose. Like, so what happens is after the disaster means your disaster, basically your database crashed. When the database comes up, it recovers itself using these redo log files, so that whatever data is there into redo log files or archives, it could apply, so that the update, so with help of these redos, your updated balance in the database becomes $18,000. Otherwise, you would lose your $10,000 or you will have to fight for it, right? So redo log files are very critical files. So any change data capture tool. Now there are a lot of competitors of GoldenGate available in the market, like HP has its own product. Then you have SharePlex, Attunity, and other products as well. So GoldenGate competitors are there, but still GoldenGate wins, or GoldenGate is the leading market player than its competitors. Okay, so for GoldenGate, the major or from where GoldenGate reads the data from is from redo log files or backup of redo log files, which are called as archive log files. Now, one important thing which I want to tell you is GoldenGate captures only committed transactions. I again repeat, GoldenGate captures only committed transactions. It doesn't capture any uncommitted transaction. Okay. However, keep in mind there is a misconception among DBAs or people that redo log files contains only committed transactions. That's not true. Remember one thing, redo log files contains committed as well as uncommitted transactions, both. Okay. Any question from anyone so far? You can ask. Oh, guys, in the meanwhile, while I'm speaking, if you have any question, you can also post in the chat window. I'll take all the questions. So any question from anyone so far?
So this
Okay.
GoldenGate will take only committed transactions, Ashish?
Yeah.
Or it, okay.
Okay. Now let us discuss about few of the GoldenGate competitors which are there. Like you have got EMC Recover Point, IBM Mirror is there, Hitachi True Copy is there, HP Continuous Access. Then you have SharePlex, Actunity, which are major competitors of Oracle GoldenGate. But still, you must have seen the market leader by some distance or much distance is Oracle GoldenGate. The question comes why? Why GoldenGate? Why GoldenGate is mostly used in comparison to its competitor? So the answer to this question is you have both technical as well as financial reasons related to it. So let us first discuss about technical reasons and then we'll move to financial reasons. So
Ashish, a quick question.
With
Sorry.
GoldenGate, data is sent in real time with sub-second latency. So GoldenGate sends the data in real time with sub-second latency. That means that as soon as data gets committed on source, it gets applied on target database with minimal lag. Of course, it is dependent on network, it depends on analysis, etc. Designing. There are a lot of factors involved. But it is expected that with GoldenGate, data gets replicated with minimal lag. Now, guys, there is another thing I want to tell you. There is misconception because it has been promoted by Oracle in that way. GoldenGate is a real-time replication tool. Now, I would like to add, so this real-time replication tool gives a gimmick, or I should say it gives a wrong perspective what GoldenGate can do. I always say add a word near to it. GoldenGate is not real-time replication tool. GoldenGate is near real-time replication tool. Near real-time means there is always going to have some delay which may be network delay, which may be process delay, or any other delay. There will always be a delay. It could be seconds, milliseconds, or couple of seconds or 5 seconds delay. But always remember, there will always be delay. The GoldenGate is not real-time replication tool. GoldenGate is near real-time replication tool. Yeah, Naeem, you had a question?
Ashish, I had a scenario in the real world. So there were about 50,000, 60,000 records updated. So some of the records were all, and these were committed just before the database crashed. And so when the Golden Gate recovered, it recovered pretty good. And there was no manual intervention, as long as we start the extract and replicate. So what you want to know is the extract was able to read it not only from the redo log, but from archive log as well, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So
Okay.
so
Yeah,
GoldenGate automatically reads, or the sources. See, what are archives? Archives are backup of your redo logs. So suppose
correct.
while your extract is means GoldenGate process. So for those who don't know about extract, you will be able to understand in next few minutes. But just to answer the question, like GoldenGate keeps in its memory based on checkpoint. It knows what all things it has to capture. So based on that, it captures and ensures there is zero data loss.
That's it, Ashish. And that's the only
Ashish,
clarification I had.
So ask us one
Ashish,
question. This
Diptiman
Dipti
here. Ashish, as you mentioned that GoldenGate captures the change data. So means the capture that happens from the GoldenGate end is something like the logical standby, like query based. Definitely, it is not block to block data copy, right?
Now this question, Deeptiman, today is first session, so hold on to your question. Your question will be answered soon, very well. So where
Okay.
you are going in absolutely correct direction, and very good question as well. But it won't be answered today. Automatically, it will be answered in subsequent sessions for you.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Ashish.
So Ashish, one question. So Golden Gate reads the archive log file sequentially because one by one, something like that, or
Yeah,
like,
yeah. GoldenGate reads the sequence files in sequential manner. Now you will
mhm.
understand there is another point which we'll be discussing not today in the next
Yeah,
session
yeah.
about integrated
Yes.
extract. So that is another point. But the answer to
Mhm.
your question is yes. The
Okay, got it. Okay,
the
we'll discuss.
archives are always means none of the transaction is missed, and all the transactions are read in commit sequence number.
Mhm.
So GoldenGate. Now we are discussing about why GoldenGate. Why GoldenGate in comparison to its competitors? So data is sent in real time with sub-second latency. GoldenGate supports heterogeneous environments across different databases and hardware types. So the major advantage of GoldenGate is GoldenGate supports heterogeneous databases as well as heterogeneous platforms as well. So a source can be on Linux, target can be on Sun Solaris. GoldenGate can replicate the data. The source can be on any platform, target be any supported platform. It can replicate the data. Also, GoldenGate supports heterogeneous databases as well. Like a source can be Oracle, target can be MySQL. Source can be MySQL, target can be DB2, and vice versa, supported databases. So GoldenGate supports heterogeneous environments across different data types and different hardware types. Another thing is GoldenGate supports forward and backward compatibility as well. So a source database can be 19C, target can be 11G. GoldenGate can replicate the data. Similarly, source GoldenGate can be higher or lower in comparison to target GoldenGate. GoldenGate delivers high performance with low impact. Now, GoldenGate is a tool we have to keep in mind. GoldenGate is a tool which sits on database. Now, because it sits on database, it is expected that it has some impact, right? Because it is external to the database. But the impact it has and the performance it delivers, in comparison to that, the impact is very minimal. It has ability to move large volume of data very efficiently. So GoldenGate can move your blob, clob, large objects very efficiently and easily. No single point of failure. So GoldenGate troubleshooting, or there are multiple steps involved. We'll be discussing about that. Means you will be able to understand as the session goes on. Another important thing is these are the technical reasons why GoldenGate. Financial reason include it's a Oracle product, and Oracle still in database field, it's the leader, right? And GoldenGate is Oracle product. Now another thing is the organization sign. Many organizations, if you ask me, like there are a lot of clients of mine, I see almost 40% places they sign EULA with Oracle. EULA means end user license agreement, and based on license you are free to use as many number of GoldenGate licenses in your environment, because thus the quality it provides, the performance it provides, the impact it has is really very good for any organization to ignore. So that's why GoldenGate, guys, remember one thing, it is a separately licensed product, and the licenses, as per my understanding, yeah, they are pretty much high. But when they come under end user license agreement, it becomes somewhat like end user license agreement means they are free to use any Oracle product based on, of course, terms and condition on any number of servers or machines or CPU. It is not CPU or core dependent. Otherwise, GoldenGate is CPU or core dependent. So it helps organization to use Oracle GoldenGate to build their core team, and so that is why there is lot of requirement for Oracle GoldenGate administrators in the market. So GoldenGate complex. So guys, there would be no practical today. We are just doing the introduction today. Practical topics will start from the next session, that is tomorrow. So today it is going to be the introduction and overview of Oracle GoldenGate. So GoldenGate complements existing Oracle products like it real-time data access for reporting, continuous availability for heterogeneous systems. So say for example, your primary site is in Dallas and secondary site is in California. Now there is some disaster like power failure in Dallas. So what happens is, because Dallas is replicating the data to California, so application can quickly switch over to California without any data issues. Real-time data access for reporting. So a lot of organizations, what they do is they shift their reporting jobs to the different server. I'll give you one example. I was working with State Bank of India, one of the leading bank of India, in 2011. I'm talking about. Now their primary server was kept in Mumbai, India, and secondary server was kept in Hyderabad, India. Now what used to happen, they were using data guard, and they had some nightly job used to run, which used to generate almost 100 GB of archives an hour, maybe more than that, for continuously 4, 5, 6 hours. Now what happened due to this much load, the data guard, I have seen myself, it used to lag behind even 3 days as well. So what I did, I proposed them Oracle GoldenGate product. We did the POC, and you won't believe, like the replication was quick. Another thing was, what they did was, like many people who are from India, they can relate to it. State Bank of India in 2011 was losing its lot of customers, right, due to customer dissatisfaction, like server was down and any other issue. So with GoldenGate, what used to happen was they switched their OLTP jobs, like reporting jobs, or they switch their reporting jobs or any non-critical jobs to the secondary server, where the lag of 5 to 10 minutes, like reporting jobs, report which they have to take out, if it comes after 5 minutes, that's also okay for them. If it comes with the lag of 5 seconds, so that's okay with them. So they switch their reporting jobs to the target server, which is getting replicated using Oracle GoldenGate. Remember guys, one thing here is GoldenGate replicates the data in near real time. So that's why I'm saying, if the reports are okay to have around 5 minutes of 5 seconds of lag, then it's okay. You can switch your reporting job. So I was talking about State Bank of India. So we did the POC for them. After doing the POC, they switched over or turn over all their reporting jobs to Hyderabad server, and you won't believe, like their customer satisfaction increased because their DB response time was pretty high after that. Their reporting was consuming their their reporting was the reporting job, which used to consume lot of resources. It was like they were good after switching over their reporting jobs to the secondary server. So GoldenGate was replicating their data in near real time to the Hyderabad server. Then GoldenGate can ensure real time data for business intelligence, EPM, and Exadata. So GoldenGate, along with Informatica, is one of the best business intelligence tool available in the market. GoldenGate, along with Informatica and ODI. How many of you have heard about ODI? Have you heard about ODI? ODI is Oracle Data Integrator, which is just like Informatica. So GoldenGate, along with Informatica or ODI, is one of the best business intelligence tool available in the market. Guys, just give me 1 minute, 1 second. So GoldenGate also supports zero downtime upgradation and migration to Oracle database and applications. Now you guys have heard that uh, many a times there are a lot of upgradation and migration which happens from one Oracle version to another Oracle version, or migrations are happening as well. Like on-prem to cloud migrations are also happening, right? You must have seen GoldenGate supports zero downtime upgradation and migration to cloud nowadays, right? So GoldenGate is used. So GoldenGate is used for zero downtime. Zero downtime means application will not have any downtime while the database upgradation is happening. So how does this happen with Oracle GoldenGate? This is possible. Now GoldenGate is being used by over 400 like this is the statistic which you see on the screen. It is quite old. I am talking about 2010. These figures were laid out by Oracle into around 2011-12. So these figures are from that time. So I'm just reading it out. Over 400 customers with 4,000 plus implementation. So the base has not increased now. So let us forget that. But GoldenGate is used in lot of domains like banking domain, telecom domain, and food and drug stores like Shoppers Drug Mart is using it. So lot of places GoldenGate is being used now. Now Oracle GoldenGate solutions include high availability. High availability, as I mentioned, your primary server is in Dallas, secondary server is in California. So GoldenGate ensures your databases are highly available. Zero downtime upgradation and migration using GoldenGate also supports live reporting, business intelligence, as I mentioned. So GoldenGate supports different databases and platforms, which include Oracle, DB2, SQL Server, Sybase, Ingress, Teradata, Enscribe. So GoldenGate, when it was introduced in 1995, it was launched for Enscribe database for banking domains. It was initially introduced for ATM networks. Networks have Enscribe databases. So initially it was means when in 1995 it was standalone company. It was only for Enscribe database. Now the support is for NoSQL database and different other NoSQL, it Informix database and other databases as well. And different OS and platforms also it supports now, like Windows, Linux, Sun Solaris, HP, different features. IBM, it supports different OS and platforms as well. Okay, so next is we are going to discuss about different types of Oracle GoldenGate architecture like classic and microservices. At the start of the training, I mentioned that this training is of classic architecture. So what is classic architecture? We'll be discussing. But prior to that, any question from anyone so far?
Hi, Ashish.
Yeah, hi
Uh,
Preeti. Tell me.
Hi. So you mentioned about zero downtime and high availability solutions of Golden Gate. So I wanted to ask you, these are just specific use cases, or the implementation of it is like generic and can be, I mean, for example, if a customer is looking for high availability, only those customers would probably implement a high availability or a ZDM solution, right? They would not get into they would not want to get into it because of just because it's available as a general feature, which is the case with probably other features that are available with Golden Gate. And the second question is that in classic architecture, if you're talking about zero downtime, there is a difference in probably the implementation and the cost of it, if I may say so. Is there a difference in the cost? Like if you are implementing a high availability or a ZDM solution using Golden Gate.
Okay, so cost depends on, okay. So first of all, cost depends upon your license. Now, I won't go into license part because because this product is owned by Oracle, and licensing part I won't go into right now. So the cost kind of is CPU dependent. It depends on number of CPUs being used. That's what I understand. But again, for any licensing or any cost part related attached to it, I'm not the one who can answer it. Definitely,
No,
it's the Oracle
sorry,
account
Rashish.
manager.
Actually, my question is probably not in that direction. More than cost, I was more interested in knowing these are customized solutions, right? High availability and zero downtime. So, will when you are using a classic architecture setup and you want to use high availability or zero downtime or probably high performance, depending on what is your requirement, how do you choose? Like, can you implement all of them in a classic setup? Or you
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
choose like whether.
no, you can choose. Okay. Now the thing is, okay, there are okay. I understand that point from where that question is coming from, Preeti. So the thing is, first of all, high availability or zero downtime upgradation and migration solution, which we are talking about, the crux of Oracle Golden Gate always remains same. Like we'll be discussing about architecture in next few minutes or maybe tomorrow if the time means based on time. I think it will be in the next session only because we don't have, I have to discuss another topic. So I was talking about so it depends on the implementation or architecture you are choosing. Say for example, I'm talking about zero downtime upgradation and migration. So it's not a means it means that Golden Gate can be used for zero downtime upgradation and migration. There is no inbuilt feature available in GoldenGate. Like you click a button and GoldenGate will help you in doing zero downtime upgradation and migration. No, you will have to prepare a design. You will have to do the implementation for it. And implementation is same like number of processes you want, like extract, pump, replicate. Only difference is how do you start it, when do you start it, how do you use them, when do you use database utilities to transfer the data or use Golden Gate initial load to perform that. So the answer to your question, if I'm going into right direction is, or if I understood your question correctly is, like it's not like internally there is a click of button or there is a feature which you have to enable it and automatically your Golden Gate becomes zero downtime upgradation and migration. No, it's not like that. You have to design it and then implement it in your environment. Same thing with high availability, you have to do that. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Ashish.
Okay, there is a question by Shravana: is materialized view supported by Golden Gate? Yes, materialized view is supported by Oracle Golden Gate. Another question is, how does Golden Gate supports zero downtime upgradation and migration? That topic we'll be discussing later on. That's
Hi
today's
Ashish.
first session, so
Hi
hold on to
Ashish.
your question related to that part. You will be getting answer to all those. as the session goes on. Okay. Okay. So now I'll discuss with you different types of GoldenGate architectures. Now there are two types of architecture in GoldenGate. One is classic, which is widely used, and most of us here present have worked on it or know about it. Second is microservices, which is now 5 years old, but still it is called as new architecture. Many of us here have only heard about it, or we or many of us have only worked about it or listened about it but haven't worked on it. So I'll give you the answer now. Oracle GoldenGate classic architecture. So to give you a brief before I discuss about that. So GoldenGate was founded in 1995. In 2009, Oracle overtook it. From 2009 to 2017, there was only one way to configure GoldenGate. That was through command prompt GGSCI. Until 2017, it was called as Oracle GoldenGate. In 2017, Oracle renamed it to Oracle GoldenGate Classic Architecture. So classic architecture allows you to set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure GoldenGate through GGSCI. Okay, and it's available for Oracle as well as non-Oracle database. So classic architecture is available for Oracle as well as non-Oracle database. However, post 21C classic architecture is getting deprecated, and this is a news for many of you. Post 21C classic architecture is getting deprecated. That means that it is not desupported, guys. Remember, there is a difference between deprecated and desupported. Like many people think that deprecated means it is getting desupported now. The answer to this question is no. uh, Post 21C, there will be no new feature of classic architecture which will be introduced for 5 databases where microservices is supported, which includes MySQL, DB2, SQL Server, Postgres, and Oracle database. So for post 21C, for these 5 databases, classic architecture is going to get deprecated. So 21C is the last version for classic architecture for Oracle and other 4 databases. Okay, so many of us here have worked on command prompt one, GGSCI. So that one is called as classic architecture. Then second is microservices architecture. Microservices architecture is available from GoldenGate version 12.3 onwards. So remember, from 12.3 to 21C, both classic as well as microservices architecture coexist. Both of them coexist now. Okay, now, so from until 12.2 there was only classic architecture. From 12.3 to 21C there are both classic and microservices. After 21C there will not be any classic architecture, only microservices will be there. So microservices architecture also allows you to set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure GoldenGate through GUI as well. You have a GUI integrated in microservices. It allows better integration with cloud applications. Now, until 19C, microservices architecture is available only for Oracle databases. So until 19C GoldenGate, microservices architecture is available for Oracle database. From 21C, support for Oracle GoldenGate microservices is extended for 5 databases: MySQL, DB2, SQL Server, Postgres. That's why for those databases, the classic architecture is getting deprecated. Now from 12.3 to 21C, classic architecture and microservices both coexist. After 21C, only microservices will exist for 5 databases. Now there is one more product in GoldenGate family which is called as Oracle GoldenGate Veridata. Now Veridata, as the name suggests, it verifies the data for you. So say for example, on source you have 10,000 records. For on target you have 9,000 records. So what Veridata can do for you is it can find the discrepancies between source and target object and it can repair those discrepancies as well for you. So GoldenGate as a whole contains three things as of today: classic, microservices, and or very data. If you go out for any interview, job support in market, you will find anything related to GoldenGate coming from classic and or microservices and or very data. Okay, now one question to you all. With the introduction of microservices, does integrated no longer exist? Or does many of you have that question that you have heard about classic and integrated? What about microservices? So with the introduction of microservices, does integrated no longer exist? Anyone
Uh,
have that question?
Integrated, you mean extract?
Okay.
So
So
yeah, it exists, I think. In fact, a
so
classic extract is getting deprecated as far as I
so
know.
what is this microservices then?
Is it
Anyone
in
else
cloud?
has that question? Preeti, you are correct. Means I was just counter questioning you, but
Okay.
don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Anyone
Okay.
else?
My okay. Can I answer the
Yeah, absolutely,
microservices part?
absolutely. Yeah.
So I don't know if I've understood the question correctly, but with microservices, basically they are RESTful services, and whatever was being done by classic architecture, components like collector or manager, other components which probably will be discussed later, now are being done using services which are called microservices,
But
and
Preeti, sorry,
they
but
yeah,
sorry to interrupt. My means I'm not going into the detail right now. But my
okay.
question is, then where is integrated now?
Uh,
Many people
Probably
have
I
that
don't have.
question. That's
Okay.
means I'm talking about only classic and microservices. I'm not talking about classic or integrated right now. So integrated, that means no longer exists, right? Anyone else?
In cloud or something?
No?
It's
Okay.
existing.
Well, Ashish, I think microservices is just the management of GoldenGate using the GUI interface.
Okay.
And integrated, I wouldn't think integrated is still there. It's not duplicated at all.
But what is integrated then? Okay.
Integrated capture.
Ashish, it is
Sorry,
the
go
type
ahead.
of
Sorry, go ahead.
application.
So integrated is basically type of extract. Exactly. Venkat has answered. It is a type of extract or replicate. So this is a question which comes in everybody's mind. Like I do lot of interactions with lot of students. I discuss about this microservices. So almost 70% of times I get the answer that we know about classic and integrated, but we don't know about microservices at all. So guys, the answer to the question is, here we are talking about overall as an architecture, classic architecture and microservices architecture. However, classic and integrated are type of extracts which we are talking about. So on a big picture, there is architecture. Inside architecture, you have got different types of extracts and replicates which helps you in capturing the data from source or applying the data to the target database. So the integrated is type of extract. Microservices is type of architecture. That's the answer. Okay. So microservices is type of architecture. Integrated is type of extract or replicate. So there are different. So the why the real confusion comes among students is because of Oracle. Because what they did is like classic here means, I think when they tried to rename it, they didn't collect that, it might confuse people. But the thing is, classic means traditional. That's what I understand. That classic means it is a traditional thing, and the latest thing they are naming something else. So whatever was older way to configure stuff, that is called as classic. Same thing applies with extract. So initially when GoldenGate was founded, it was only extract and replicate. It was called as extract. Now when integrated extract was introduced from 11 to 04 GoldenGate version, then the existing extract was renamed to classic. Same thing when integrated replicate was introduced, the existing was renamed to non-integrated or classic one. Okay, so there are two types of extracts available in Oracle GoldenGate. One is integrated extract and second is classic extract. So integrated extract is available from Oracle GoldenGate version 11 to 04 onwards, and minimum database version should be 11 to 03. Integrated extract is only supported for Oracle database. It is not supported for non-Oracle database. Classic extract is supported for Oracle as well as non-Oracle database. However, keep in mind, classic extract has been deprecated from 21C onwards. That means you can only configure integrated extract. Second thing you have to keep in mind is if you are using multi-tenant databases, if your database is multi-tenant, you cannot use classic extract, you can only use integrated extract. Integrated extract performance wise is very much faster than classic one. Also it supports lot of data types. Another thing is you need very less extra configuration which was needed in classic extract. So the answer to the question is which one is better, or how should I decide which one should be used in my environment? The answer to that question is if integrated is supported, go with integrated extract. Okay. Now different types of replicates available in GoldenGate environment are classic non-integrated or classic replicate, which is the traditional one. Integrated replicate, which was introduced in GoldenGate version 12.1, and for that database has to be 12C. If your database is not, if your database is 11.204, then you cannot use integrated replicate. Integrated replicate is still supported. It is not getting, sorry, classic replicate is still supported. It is not getting deprecated, guys. Then in 12.2, GoldenGate introduced coordinated replicate. So to improve the number of threads of non-integrated replicate, coordinated replicate was introduced. So guys, this integrated replicate is almost 5 times faster than its contemporary non-integrated replicate. Then from GoldenGate version 12.3 onwards, parallel replicate was introduced for Oracle database only. From 21C, parallel replicate has been introduced for some non-Oracle databases. So parallel replicate is of two types. Parallel non-integrated replicate. So basically the first two replicates run in non-parallel mode. Now when parallel replicate has been introduced, so first two replicates, when they run in parallel mode, they are called as parallel non-integrated or parallel integrated replicate. So for implementing parallel non-integrated replicate, your database version minimum has to be 12.1 and GoldenGate version has to be 12.3. For parallel integrated replicate, the database version minimum has to be 12.2 and GoldenGate version has to be 12.3. If your GoldenGate version is less than 12.3, you cannot implement parallel replicate at all. Okay. So these are the different types of extracts and replicates available in the market. I again repeat, there are two types of architecture, classic architecture and microservices architecture. Under classic architecture, you have got different types of extracts, integrated and classic extract. Similarly, under microservices architecture, you have got different types of extracts, integrated extract and classic extract. Similarly, in classic architecture, you have got different types of replicates like non-integrated or classic replicate, integrated replicate, coordinated replicate or parallel replicate. Same thing in microservices as well. Different types of replicates include all these four types of replicates.
Hi
Okay.
Ashish, I have a question.
So if next time it is being asked, what is microservices? The simple answer is microservices is type of architecture, and what is integrated? Integrated is type of extract and or replicate. Okay. Yeah. Any question? So let me take few of the chat questions. Then I'll open the forum
Hi
for
Ashish.
questions. Just 1 minute.
Okay.
So there is a question. Hamad, just 1 minute. Let me read the question on chat. Okay, there is one very good question from Louis. Can you have a mixed architecture environment like classic replicating to microservices, or can microservices replicate to classic? So guys, one very good thing with GoldenGate is your source environment and target environment are completely independent of each other. So the thing is, your source can be classic, target can be microservices. GoldenGate can replicate that. Similarly, source can be microservices, target can be classic. GoldenGate can replicate the data without any issues. Now, what are data type and object which are not supported to GoldenGate? There are most of the data types and objects which are now supported. There is a list on Oracle we can see, but now with introduction of integrated extract as well as with 21C GoldenGate, the support has been extended a lot. What is difference between integrated and classic parallel? We'll be discussing about that. So yeah, Hamad, you had a question you can ask.
Hi Ashish. My question is that we can change a replication in flight, or we have to do means shutdown or something like that.
Sorry, I didn't get that question, Hamad. There was some echo going on. Can you repeat your question?
Okay. My question is that we can change this means replication types, integrated, coordinate, or parallel in flight, or we have to do some bounce or like that.
So from upgrading from classic to integrated, yes, you can do, or from integrated extract to classic extract down conversion you can do. But yeah, of course, you need to stop the GoldenGate processes for that. You don't need any downtime at database level. But yes, at GoldenGate level, you need to do. Same applies to the replicates as
Okay, thank you.
well. Okay, Purushottam, you had a question?
Yeah, yes. Ashish. See, post 21C, you said classic extract will be deprecated, no? So that integrated will support non-Oracle databases also.
No, only for Oracle
Integrated
database.
extract.
I meant. So for
Only
non-Oracle
for
database,
Oracle.
classic will still be there.
Oh, okay, okay,
Uh,
okay.
Ashish,
Got it.
I just
Just
wanted
one
to
minute.
mention.
Nidhi, just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Purushottam, you need to mute yourself because at your end, I'm not sure when you are unmuting yourself, echo is coming. Yeah, Preeti.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I think the for non-Oracle databases, the type of extract is different than integrated. There's probably
Yeah.
using CDC extract.
So for SQL Server, it is using CDC extract, not for any other databases. It is still using classic for your other databases. So that CDC extract you are talking about, it is for SQL
Mm-hmm.
Server data.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So, yeah, this is for microservices. I mean, so both architectures. For non-Oracle databases, both architectures will be using classic extracts, except for SQL Server.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Ashish,
Ashish, one more question. Sorry.
your question.
Uh, Let Chinedu, yeah, you can ask first.
Okay, maybe I want to take us back a little bit. You, when you were introducing the GoldenGate, you talked about the redo logs that kind of captures, stores both committed transactions and non-committed transactions. And you said that GoldenGate only captures the committed transactions I believe, from the redo log file. So since the redo log file have both uncommitted and committed transactions, how does GoldenGate filter the committed transactions that it
So
captures?
each transaction has so internally at database level, Chinedu, there are a lot of things the way transactions are written into the log files. So there is an indicator that the transaction is committed or uncommitted. So based on that, GoldenGate knows that.
So there is no how does it know that? Is there any particular configuration in the GoldenGate, or is there any particular thing that gives it that step?
This is how GoldenGate is developed, that it will capture only uncommitted transaction. Sorry, committed transaction. It won't capture any uncommitted transaction. Until the transaction is committed, it won't be capturing them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Ashish, to add to that, how does the GoldenGate know when to go to redo log and when to go to archive log to capture?
Okay, so the answer to this question is with integrated one, this requirement is no longer there. When it was classic extract, this question was very much valid. So it depends on, say, for example, there are if there is huge number of redos which are getting generated, if the extract is not able to, the classic extract wasn't able to keep track of redos, like it wasn't able to, like say for example, before it could read the data from redo log, complete the transaction at this, before that the transaction was flushed to archive, so it automatically do the switch, it automatically used to do the switch. If it is able to read the data from redo logs, it will read the data from redo logs, otherwise it will automatically switch to archive log to read the data. And if, remember one thing, GoldenGate reads the, like classic extract reads the data, reads the archive logs in sequential manner. Say for example, if it is reading archive log number 1 right now, so next it would expect archive log 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Now suppose in between some of the archives are missed or deleted by mistake, GoldenGate will not move forward automatically in that case.
Thank you.
Okay, Naeem has a question. Can I extract from Oracle DBA return via replicate? So GoldenGate supports heterogeneous database replication. The source can be Oracle, target can be non-Oracle. Source can be the source can be DB2, target can be any other database. GoldenGate can replicate the data without any issues. Okay, so if I have to quickly recap, what we have discussed today is we started with introduction to database, then we moved to introduction to Oracle GoldenGate architecture. So in 2009, Oracle acquired GoldenGate, and since then it is known as Oracle GoldenGate. Until 2017, there was only one GoldenGate architecture. In 2017, another GoldenGate architecture was introduced, which is called as Classic architecture. So Classic is command prompt based architecture. Microservices was introduced in 2017, and it has GUI as well. Now remember, microservices has GUI as well as command prompt as well. GUI is one of the features. Now Oracle GoldenGate Veridata is used for verifying the data. Now why GoldenGate? GoldenGate is near real-time replication tool, and it supports heterogeneous environments and heterogeneous platforms across different databases. 21C is latest version of Oracle GoldenGate. Post 21C, classic architecture will be deprecated. Now there are two types of extract processes: classic extract, integrated extract. Similarly, there are different types of replicate which include non-integrated or classic, integrated replicate, coordinated replicate, parallel replicate, which is of two types: parallel integrated and parallel non-integrated replicate. So I'll give you the exercise. What is the post session assignment for today's complete lab setup for both virtual boxes? So I'll be showing it to you in next few minutes how to set up the lab.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, Nihal, you have a question you
Okay.
can ask.
Yes. So if there is a, primary and standby configuration for Oracle database, and on primary the classic is working on, there is no extract or golden gate on the standby. We have a requirement now that the primary needs to be moved out due to data center migration, and the standby will now be a new primary database. So the decision needs to be made as to if we could use the same classic architecture installation on the standby side, or should we go for integrated extract. So if the integrated extract needs to be used on the standby side, will that be possible? Is there a zero data loss possible in that case, or should we use the classical there and then upgrade to integrated extract?
So it is recommended you should go with the latest version, latest feature available. Now the question which is being asked, it requires some analysis before answering. Like the answer to the question is go with the latest supported version. Now second question is if it is environment specific, more details would be needed for that. So what I would suggest is share your question over WhatsApp. Whatever
Okay.
requirements are there, I'll ask, and based on that only I can answer that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now let us quickly discuss about the few emails regarding training guidelines you must have received. So for the training, you must have received two emails basically. First email is related to your training enrollment confirmation. So please do check regarding your email confirmation for which course you have enrolled for, and you can verify. If it's not correct, you can reply if you feel there is any discrepancy. Second email you must have received is related to the lab setup kit. So these are the latest VMs, upgraded VMs. Prior to this training, the VMs which were shared had 12C database and GoldenGate 19C. Now the new VMs which are shared, they have 19C database and GoldenGate 21C binaries. 19C binaries are also kept, but we'll be discussing doing the training on 21C. So now that the VMs are kind of plug and play, you just have to. So the two VMs are provided on these. So what you have to do, you have to click on GGate 1 and GGate 2. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to download this gget1.ova, read this step-by-step VM pictorial guide, okay, to set up, and download the virtual box, this 7.0.6. Download it, install it, and then import this gget1.ova. You will be good. Same with gget 2, import it on same. So how do you import? So open your virtual box once it is done. Click on file, click on import appliances. So guys, remember one thing, these files are like 14 GB each. So what you should do is you should download them one by one, not together. And second thing is you should be using wired connection preferably if Wi-Fi doesn't work, because these are big files and may take some time to download. Okay, and one or two times you may face network issues, and ensure that your system doesn't go into sleep mode. At that moment as well, I have noticed that the download gets interrupted. So for importing, click on file, then select the location where your files are kept. Then I'll select, say for example, GGate 1. Click on next. Now this is really very important, guys. This MAC address policy here. So MAC address policy, here it says by default it selects include only NAT network adapter MAC address. Now choose this option, include all network adapter MAC addresses. Click on finish, it will import. So ensure that while importing GGate 1 as well as GGate 2, you use this option, include all network adapter MAC addresses. Don't use any other option, because these virtual boxes are coming with automatic IP address and everything. You will be getting that. So I again repeat, include this option. Use this option, include all network adapter MAC addresses. Rest you can keep it as default and then click on finish. So do with this for GGate 1 and GGate 2, it will be done. Once you do that, you can start your virtual box, then you will come on the screen. So remember, the password of Oracle user on these virtual boxes is, you can close these mouse integration, we don't need it. So the password of Oracle user is Oracle and root user is root. So login as Oracle on both machine. Right click, open terminal, verify your if config. So if config, check this one. It should be 192.168.56.50. In the same way on GGate 2, it should be 51. It should be 192.168.56.51. So ping GGate 2 from GGate 1. Yeah, this is fine. Similarly, ping GGate 1 from GGate 2. Yeah, so your network is set. Now in these servers, like if you go to, there is a folder /home/oracle/softwares. Under there you can find the binaries related to your classic 19C, classic 21C, microservices 21C, Veridata 12.2.1.4 as well as 12.2.1.2.0, as well as database 19C binaries are also present on this server. Now the databases are already created on this machine. So what you have to do to start the database, do SQL plus /SSDBA. So the database on GGate 2 is OGGDB2. The container database is OGGDB2 and pluggable database is PDB2. Similarly on GGate 1, it's a multi-tenant architecture same. So on source it is OGGDB1 and PDB is the pluggable database is PDB1. Okay. So what you have to do is, as a task for this session, you have to set up your lab. Setup of lab is just like you have to download and they're kind of plug and play, you can see on your environment. So what you can do is you can start the listener after starting a virtual box, start the listener on both the machines and then start the databases and pluggable databases as well. Startup and then do alter pluggable database pdb1 open read write. So your pluggable database will also be open. That's it. Okay. Any question from anyone?
Ashish, we'll get the recording of this session, today's session.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
this one, setup.
yeah.
Okay.
So any question from anyone related to the session?
No,
Here
Ashish.
I have. I just wanted to know, Ashish, that normally Oracle uses means redo or archives. If we have certain other database like Postgre or from Postgre to Oracle or something, how does it collects the data from that database to Oracle?
Okay. Now the thing is, each database has its own transaction logs. So in case of Oracle, we call these as transaction logs. In
Hmm.
case of Oracle, these transaction logs are called as redo logs or backup of redo logs, which are archive logs. In case of
Yeah.
DB2 SQL Server, you have got transaction logs where the changes are stored. So each database has its own transaction logs
Hmm.
where the changes are stored.
So we need to configure some settings for these things, or it will
No.
be taken automatically. It will taken
Okay.
care automatically.
So the best part with GoldenGate is 95% of configuration remains same. So you just have to set up. We'll be discussing going
Okay.
skip to, like I want you to hold on to this question. When we
Yeah.
do the setup, this question will be answered for you automatically.
Yes. One more question is there,
Yeah.
not related to this, but for the setup only.
So just so if we haven't discussed about that yet, we'll be discussing about that. I would suggest not to discuss today. We'll be doing that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Hi, Ashish. Uh, so when I set up the lab environment, right, the network initially which you set, it didn't open. Then I just tried a bridged adapter under Intel wireless. So then it has open. Is that okay?
Yeah, you have to make it work. So whatever you use, that's okay. So I'm, to be very honest, like I'm not very good in this VMs. I've just prepared them. So if you have any issues, like if you ask me that question, my answer would be yes, that is okay. I just want these VMs to work too. And why these differences comes, I'm not sure about that, to be very honest. So for me, if you ask me,
So
yes,
we
you
have to
just have to
just
ensure that.
try different options, whichever is working for us.
Exactly, exactly. Now there are few VM experts in our groups. They may answer, like Chinedu is there, I know, and few others are there who are experts in this. So they may have some other answer to this. But for me, I would only say that these VMs should work, because I'm not expert on this VM part. I've just prepared them and I know they are working. That
Ashish, I have a question. Sorry, the database we are using here, is it 19C database or we are using 21C database?
19C.
Okay, 19C. So the GoldenGate version is 21C GoldenGate version.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.